Unpopular opinion from a professional teacher. Unpopular opinion number 5. All school administrators must have a minimum of 3 to 5 years of teaching experience prior to moving into their administrative roles. Let me explain. In my 10 plus years of classroom teaching experience, I have had, and that's in both public and private schools, 7 principals and 5 vice principals. And the biggest difference I can tell you between those schools had to do with whether or not their principal and vice principal had significant experience as a classroom teacher. And these differences were huge. So the schools that had leadership that had been classroom teachers had better relationships with their teachers, better relationships with the students, which meant they had better relationships with the parents, and a better overall school culture. They also came into their leadership position in a really different way because they cared so deeply about education from their experience as teachers. And then moving up into these leadership roles was they came into it as an opportunity to have a greater impact, a greater positive impact on education as a whole. Furthermore, those principals were still willing to, and vice principals, willing to jump into the classroom to cover a class, to help a teacher if they needed help. And one of them even still teaches AP American history to this day. Conversely, in the schools where the leadership had never been a teacher, where they went right from their private sector roles to educational leadership, or they went right into educational leadership and took those positions in educational leadership, they came at it in a completely different way. You could see a huge difference in their leadership style. And they did not have great relationships with their teachers. In fact, many of them had hostile relationships with their teachers. It was clear that they did not understand what the teacher's job was or what the classroom should really look like, other than maybe an intellectual conceptualized idea that they learned about in their college prep courses. And because they spent most of their time in meetings, in their office, and not really being a part of the school culture, they didn't know the students, they didn't really understand the school body, and they didn't have great relationships with the parents, and they were not great custodians of their school culture. And follow up, I think that anybody who is in educational leadership and educational policy, there should be like a ladder where you were a teacher, you lived that life, you know what it's about, move up into administration to have a greater impact, and then superintendent, and then educational policy. But it all needs to start with having a really fundamental understanding of what is happening in the classrooms. Thank you.